Hey, Anthony, great to see you today. How's it
Great to be
going?
seen. Your lighting always looks perfect, and my lighting wherever I am always looks dull.
You know why it looks so good? Horrible weather outside. I'll
I'm
explain.
Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the one and only No Vacancy Live. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melchiori. Thanks so much for spending time with us today. Yeah, Anthony, when it's icky weather out, my image looks better. The lighting just works better when the light is diffused and it's not so
It
sunny.
looks like you're in a professional, like NBC studio.
I know, right? Oh, well, I'm over here at the Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, and we've got the chairman of there coming on today. But before that, I want to take a moment to announce our condolences to the family of Harris Rosen since he passed away. This is a huge loss to the hospitality community. Now, because we have Chairman Lloyd on today, we're just going to give our wishes to him and his family today. And tomorrow, we're going to do a special broadcast focusing more on his life and legacy in the industry of hospitality. And Anthony, I did an interview with him back in 2017, which is now up on our audio podcast feed, so you could hear his whole life's journey.
But didn't we spoke to him right after or during COVID?
We did, but I didn't want to put on an interview where he was in a real negative mindset and worried about laying off people and all of that kind of stuff. This one was more like his journey from helping develop the Polynesian and Contemporary Resort through Rosen Hotels and all of that kind of stuff. But we will make those other ones available as well because we had him on twice, as a matter of fact. So we'll get all of that taken care of right away. But today, Anthony, I wanted to talk a little bit about Native American gaming and the legalities of that, and also what it's like, for people that are, sovereign nations. And that's why today we've got a very interesting guest with us. And bringing on to the show right now, we've got Lloyd Mathiesen, chairman of the Chicken Ranch Rancheria of Me-Wuk Indians out of California. Chairman Mathiesen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so this is really interesting. Anthony, a little history. Back in 1988, the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act was passed. I believe it was in October of 1988. And that kind of changed everything, right, Chairman? That's when folks like you were allowed to legally do casino resorts because your sovereignty was recognized and other things were put in place. That's done a great job. We all know how incredible it's been for the Seminoles Indians, the Native Americans in Florida, up in Connecticut, the Mashantucket Indian Reservation, and the Mohegans have done an incredible job. And there's some other notable tribes. You folks opened up your first resort in 2001 or something like.
We've had that building since 1985. It was a bingo hall, metal Butler building, and put a casino inside of it about 98 with Prop 1A in California.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But California has been, in your opinion, and the opinion of the Department of Interior, encroaching on your rights, and you guys had to go ahead and take them to court in order to reaffirm your status as a sovereign government. Could you share a little bit about this story, and which will be the focus of a lot of what we're talking about?
Oh, yeah. So what we did is we had our compact, which is basically just a contract to the state of California. And when we went to re-up on it, another 20 years, we wanted to try to get 25, a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And California, there's 7 to 9 instances of them doing bad faith negotiation. They were telling us that we had to do a bunch of different things that we didn't have to. And a lot of it was, just saying like child support tax. Right. Just saying that we would take out child support from an employee, and they wanted to put it into our compact. And we said, well, first off, we do that already, but we don't have to put that in there. Mm-hmm. Be safe on it. Also, there's a bunch of other ones. One of them was minimum wage. And so the state was telling us we had to put the minimum wage in there. We said the area is going to dictate it. And plus, we pay more than minimum. And we said, if we do that, what are we going to get for it since we don't have to? And the state said nothing. We have the right to game. And we already had that right back in 99 with Prop 1A. So it was just a lot of that back and forth for 7 years. Finally, we won the case, and then it was appealed by the state. We won that, went all the way back to Interior, negotiated again back there, and was able to finally get that wrapped up December 31st, January 31st of this past year. So,
wow.
Which is great.
Yeah, it sure is. So, Anthony, I find it very interesting that, the federal government made agreements with all of these tribes, and then some individual states, and in this case, California, is trying to change the rules of the game. So it goes back to an ancient problem your people have had with dealing with what became the federal government of the United States. How are you feeling right now about your sovereignty?
Our sovereignty, I'm good with it. I don't think that we're not any much more encroaching. Are you talking about like with having Trump in office?
No, but things might try to change over there. We try to stay away from that kind of politics over here. I'm more interested in your story and your group's your journey.
Well, no, because each side there's different ways that they go in there, so that's more our realm is trying to see what's in office. But really, with us, no, we haven't had anyone coming back after our sovereignty trying to tell us what to do, except for the state of California. That's been it.
Yeah.
So what is so for those people that know, because we really not heard too many people from a sovereign nation really talk on our podcast or any podcast about gambling and kind of what the rules and regulations are. So does it contain the building? Is it a swath of land? Like, how does it work?
So like for us to be able to game?
Yes.
For you to game, and also what's under that ruling? Is it just the building? Is it, there are acres around the building? Like, how's that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple different rules and settlements. There's always like, Appendix A, Appendix B.
And but Lloyd, it also has to do with whether or not you have ancestral lands in your current possession or not.
Yeah,
right.
so talk through that. Through that. I think people would be interested in hearing that.
Yeah, so our land, I'll just talk about us. So we were 1908, federally recognized, everything else. We had 40 acres. We were also said that we weren't a tribe in 1963. They took all of our land, took everything else. Tilly Hardwick got re-recognized in 1977, 83. Right in that timeline with that, we had our original 40 was not given back to us, but was technically ours if we ever bought the land back. So we said okay, and with that, because we were taken out, decommissioned, or whatever, however you want to say it, as a tribe, that we were able to now game on land if we were able to purchase it, get it in a trust that's adjacent to the original reservation. So we have a little bit of land, which is the original 40, and any land that touches that original 40, we could technically game on it. One side of us, the north side, is a big old huge mountain, which is around the backside of Glenn's little picture there, that we're not going anywhere up there. So everything is all out in front. So where the casino and the resort sits right now, that's on 40 acres that's out on the side of it that originally touches the original 40 acres.
So, and what, from a history standpoint, because the tribes do a really good job of really talking about the history and kind of their ancestors. So what's the one thing that you would want people that come to your casino or to your resort, what's the one thing you don't want to know about the tribe and about your culture and about your ancestors?
Really, we try to keep things a little bit separate between the two. So yeah, you got Tuolumne Band and everything up here. They're our brothers and sisters up the hill. They're cousins. I mean, we've been around forever with them before 1850. But with us, just about being good, just good people is really the only thing that we try to keep doing. We all have to live on this land together. We're all working and moving around, so we try to be good and respectful to each other, and that's really our tribe's motto. I mean, we know what it's like to grow up from nothing. That's where we all came from. It's what I grew up doing, the same thing my entire life until I hit adulthood, and not forgetting about that. Just because we've been better off right now doesn't mean that we weren't 20 years ago.
How does one become chairman?
campaigning, working your ass off or butt off, sorry. And really just, having your people believe in you is really, it's just a vote, just like our president or anything else. I get up in front of my people, tell them what I want to do, and they either believe in me or they don't.
So you can be voted out.
Yes, sir.
Well, and what percentage of Native American blood do you have to have at all, like in the tribe, to be working in the hotel, or if you have to have any?
To work at the casino and everything else, that's not so much you have to have any native blood or anything else with it. But for our tribe, we are direct descendants of Inez Mathiesen, which is my great grandmother. She's the main one back when we got re-recognized in 83 and 77, that she was the leader of our tribe. So only one that came back, only one that lived on that land from 1963 on. Wow. So our tribe is small, and it's just our family.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. So how do you parlay that into this beautiful new resort with 120 something rooms in a big casino space? How did that happen?
That was a lot of planning. So about 10 to 12 years, I've been working on it, going through remodeling our current casino right now to get the tribe comfortable with expanding into a full-blown resort. And that was kind of like the main goal for the last 12 years. I think we did 3 different expansions on it, and able to show that, hey, we can handle this and we can do this, because we don't have a management company. We run this by ourselves.
Seriously?
Yeah, we have a GM, and I work closely with the GM and all my directors, and meetings every day. I got to be leaving here in about 30 minutes to head down to a meeting too. So, yeah, this is what we've done since 1988.
I've been doing this 40 years, and the best way is if you have an involved owner, you have an involved company, and they're open-minded and they truly understand hospitality, and you select a good GM, that's all you need. When you have a brand, a management company, an asset manager, all these people involved, everybody has their priorities, and it works in a lot of situations, and it's important in a lot of situations. But when it's truly your land and your blood, sweat, and tears, and if you're involved and you're a good business person, that's all you need. I don't care if you ran a lollipop shop. If you know good business and how to take care of people, that's all you need if you have good executives around you. So I admire that.
I agree.
I admire that.
It's also impressive that you went ahead on this own without outside help, because I don't recall, Anthony, if it was Mohegan or Foxwoods. Saul Kersner helped develop that. Of course, he's a famed South African billionaire casino developer and stuff like that. Came in, and I think it was the Mash and Tuckets, taught them how to operate it. Stayed there for a few years, and they thanks, but we're all set.
And how's that work? Can you get funding outside, or is it mostly internal? How's that work?
We got funding through traditional bank loans and everything else with it. Just leverage what we have in reserves, or everything that we've saved, and did it multiple different ways. So far, my interest is about 2% above what I have to pay with our loan. So far, so good.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. So when did you start? You said you started developing this 10, 12 years ago. What was the state of the casino at that point, and how is it transformed?
Oh, so I started planning this in my head about 10 or 12 years ago. The state that it's transformed, 12 years ago, we had 349 machines. And then from there, we grew up to about 585, and then we added tables. And then in 2021, we broke ground on this resort, September of 2021. And finally, we opened up in July. Now we got 197 rooms. We only have 930 machines at this resort. We have an additional 350 at the old casino just right up the street, about 300 yards behind you. So, it is a little bit different. We jumped straight into the hospitality game. Never really did hotels before. So, really learning that on the fly and how to do it. But like you said, Anthony, though, as long as you got a good head on your shoulders and you care about it, and your people can see that, and you walk around and, you do the work and everything else too, I think everyone joins in. We've been able to come together pretty quick in the 4 or 5 months that we've been open with the resort for the hotel portion of it, and learn fast.
Well, if you ever need a good consultant, I'm always available. I'll come.
Yeah,
do
definitely. And if you ever need somebody to eat your food, hey, call me.
Hey,
But
we got the top
Chairman, I'm
market
super
right there.
interested. I'm super interested in like how the audacity to open up a big hotel when you have no hotel experience. I mean, how do you even start to plan what the rooms look like, and what kind of outside partners did you bring in? Because you got to think about tech stack. You got to think about all of these things. You know, I just went to TribalNet last month, so I'm feeling, you know, I'm thinking about that event.
No problem. We brought in Worth Group. There are architects on there. Brian Hamlin. That guy's just amazing. He's just got a great eye. So we did things a little bit different for our interview process. So it literally was the start of COVID. As soon as we got this, so we picked our architects out of April 2020. So we were smack dab in the middle of it. So what we did is we did a little interview, and I kind of talked to him, told him what I wanted, like an interview process, about an hour, all three of them. And then I told them to draw something close to what they could vision from what myself and the rest of the council were talking about. And we chose whoever listened to us closely to get the best vision put on the paper. And from there, it just continued to grow. Brian, like I said, we worked well with him. We were able to sit down, and a lot of it comes down to just listening to people. I mean, really, this isn't rocket science. It's not that hard. It's just understanding people. It's, you know, a little bit of form of psychology and everything else with it, but hey, you know, to get the rooms, you want to open them, clean, you know, try to have that set up. You want to make sure all the plugins are at the right locations, and everywhere that you've gone, you guys have probably said it countless times. Oh man, if I ever built one, I wouldn't do this. I want to do this. I wanna do that.
I'm still complaining about location of plugs. As a matter of fact, why bother putting in the plugs if then you're going to use those plugs for the lamp that doesn't put out enough light on the desk, and then I can't plug anything in?
So we did with our construction team, our GC Suffolk and Worth Group, we built two small, not small, we built two hotel rooms in a metal building, king room and our double queen. And I have probably over 60 hours in there, laying in the beds, you know, sitting on the toilet, not going to the toilet, but sitting on it, getting in the shower, moving around, sitting on everything, and seeing, okay, are these plugs going to work here? Is this going to work here? Is that going to work there? You know, does the shades work? Does this not work? And it takes time and effort.
Well, that's why you're
something.
And that's my point about, as long as you're a good business person, I can't tell you how many times I've basically had to wrestle owners to the ground to build a prototype room. And I always get why. And I was like, because you're going to rebuild it after you build it if you don't. And they're like, and I never lost, so I can't, like, I've come close to losing that fight a couple times, but I literally almost walk off the job if they don't do it, because it's a reflection of me. I'm going to make a mistake. I am going to say that design is right and that architect is right and my operator is right. I'm going to say it looks right to me, and then I'm going to experience it and go, oops, I misread it, or I didn't realize. And so that's so critically important, beyond critically important. It's everything, because we forget we build it, and then we forget that you have living people in this room, sometimes dead people, in these rooms that are functioning in these rooms 24/7 like they function at home. And another thing that you just said was very important, to make sure everything's working, whether it be toilet, the shower, is people are trying to function like they function at home. Like, I stayed in a hotel room last night, surprise, surprise. And like, it was very easy. Like all the hotel rooms are seeming to be more and more like every day. And it's easy for a traveler like myself, who's on the road all the time. It feels like I'm almost home, because you know, the light switch, the plugs, the shower, everything kind of works, you know, similar. So I think it's critically important. What's the one thing would you say that people misconception of a tribal casino, what you do? What's a misconception from the public that don't really have an understanding of Native American casinos?
I would say that, you know, they don't think that we're like the rest. I mean, we're exactly. I mean, if you walk into mine, you would not think you're in Tuolumne County, let alone in California. Right. I mean, our casinos and everything else is, you know, they're different than Vegas. I mean, it's I think that's the biggest misconception, because if you go in there, especially ours, and there's a ton of brothers and sisters around at their casinos that they do great things with their communities, and a lot of our money we donate back into our community. We donate to our team members.
Mhm.
We dock back into our community. Everything else. I'm getting ready to head down to the resort right now to finish our bonuses to
Nice.
get that done. It's just what we do. And we're not, and it's what you said earlier. We're not a management company. We're not everything else. We're not looking for the shares. We don't, every year, we don't try to make a little bit more money. The market we will make what we make. Our job is to go there, give great guest service, and give the hospitality that everyone needs and then wants to go into a place. And whatever we make is what we make. And we just need to make sure that our expenses aren't crazy, that we're watching everything else, and we move forward.
And give it back to the community and give it
Yep.
back to the people. And
Yep.
that's, and that's really, I don't care what mandate you look at, whether it be a mandate from your tribe, a mandate from the government, or a mandate from God, like giving back to the people that make it what we're here for.
Yep. Oh,
That's
absolutely.
so, Chairman, what's the one thing that you learned in the process of building this resort that you're like, oh, that's really interesting?
Oh man. Oh, there are so many like trials and errors going through this thing, building it.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, was more like trust my gut, because I thought, yeah, this is going to be crazy. It's too much. And I got a construction background, and it wasn't. If you can, not saying it's the same, but
Yep.
if you have this concept of how to build stuff and everything else, it's like, okay, it's just a lot more parts and everything else. It takes a lot more people to manage it, but it's like, all right, no, you know what? This is actually doable. I believe that, we could get this thing done. And the entire time, my office is right behind, just sitting there watching this thing go up, just really scared, terrified, the entire time of going, we're doing this, doing it in the time that we're doing it. It was during COVID and everything else. So it wasn't like it was a great time either, on top of that, but it was that I just see the biggest mind blowing thing is just that it's hard, but it's not as hard as I thought it would be.
Yeah, and you just said it was scary, and if it wasn't scary, so what? So I want to know, the first time you saw how much linen costs for a hotel that size, did you say, what is that, a linen bill?
Yeah. So and that's the thing. Like we go through, and I checked every single chair. So myself and the rest of the council, every chair that's in that casino that has more than like a 30-minute butt time, we sat in for 30 minutes. So
Yep.
I go into experience. I'm all about experience and everything else. So every single spot in my in our resort, I say I'm in the councils and everything else. I just take ownership of it. But in our resort is that, you got to have an experience at the circle bar different than you're going to have on the casino floor, different than you're going to have at
I
our
think
proper
that's him.
room bar. And so, and I think if you're have seating there, your seating should allow that same amount of time. Like you shouldn't sit there if you're supposed to be eating dinner and it's about a 45 minutes to an hour to be able to get through dinner. Your butt shouldn't be going numb in about 30 minutes. You shouldn't be uncomfortable.
Right.
You should have a chair long enough for that. So as good looking as they're supposed to be, that doesn't always constitute as comfortable. So we've had to lower our grade as far as like what our interior designers wanted to choose in order to be able to get the comfort level that we wanted to experience with our guests. And that was a big, huge deal, was finding with our interior designer about it, because they all wanted the look, and that's not always
You know what? You just said something that might be the most important thing when you're building a resort, is just because something's pretty doesn't mean it's comfortable. And the designer will say, no, it's comfortable. But in their mind, pretty comes first, or not even pretty. I don't want to make it like it's not important, but the aesthetic is more important in their mind. And no matter how much it's like if you have an electrician and a plumber, and they know a little bit about plumbing, they're always going to make sure their electric is perfect because they're electricians. So a design is the same thing. They're going to make sure the aesthetic works before the comfort level works.
Yep.
And I won't say who, but a very famous hotelier in New York City who basically invented the boutique hotel. I remember going into his hotel, beautiful hotel. It was like his maybe third real big hotel in New York City. And I remember sitting in a chair and I was like, this is ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous. I might kill myself if I moved the wrong way, but it was pretty.
And that's unfortunately what you get a lot of the time. And it was, anyone that watches this that's going to go through this, trust your gut. And when it comes to hands down, the architect, the contractor, the interior designer, it doesn't matter who it is. At the end of the day, this is our house. We're the ones that are going to have to live here. We're the ones that have to be out here. So we got our team involved in this pretty early, and the ones that were actually going to be doing all the work. And like, hey, is this going to work for you or not? I could sit here and say, I like it. It looks good. The colors match up, but I'm not the one that's, inside Players Club. I'm not the one that's inside this restaurant. So we gave that to our team earlier to go through it. And also when it was being built, I'd walk but every couple months I'd take 3 different tours and walk anyone who signed up that wanted to go down there for a resort tour on our team. We went down there, but I had our managers, our supervisors down there going through their spots to make sure that it was going to work.
Yeah, you know what? If a young manager or young executives listening to this, they should all be listening to what you're saying. Because everything you're saying, you don't read in a book.
Right.
Okay? Everything you're saying is common sense and asserting yourself, meaning we're paying the bill. You could be the fanciest designer, fanciest contractor, fanciest whatever in the world. And I'm going to respect your reputation. I'm going to respect you. But at the end of the day, I'm cutting the check. And my employees are going to complain to me. They're not going to complain to you.
Yep.
So everything you're talking about is literally, it's common sense with passion for doing the right thing.
And trust your staff. I mean, that's the biggest thing is make sure, if, believe in yourself, pushing back on the architects, but also trust your staff. When the staff says, hey, this ain't going to work, unless you're doing that job with them, right beside them, I would lean on that and trust what they
Also,
say.
I love that. Look, trust your staff, but also ask a question when something seems weird. Like you can trust your staff, but you also have to say, are you sure about that? Right.
Well, that's why an owner's got to know his business. Like you said, I think any great successful company has an involved ownership. They take pride in it. And when it starts from the top down. You're only going to care about something, and if your owner doesn't care about it, you ain't going to care about it. So it starts from the top down, and taking that.
Glenn, do we have any video or pictures of the casino at all?
I just got the website over here. So
can we pull some up? Because we're just basically.
First of all, I think this website is really well done. Also hysterical because of the chicken puns and the egg on the screen that you move around.
So what's the history of the name of the ranch?
Everyone's been asking that lately, and
people are probably confusing it with that Outside Vegas one.
Yes, yeah. Oh, we do. Oh, I got a story about that one. Involves my grandmother, bless her heart. But 1908, we were federally recognized. So we had an agent from the federal government show up to the reservation. They asked you what our name was. Obviously the leader of the tribe told them what our name was. And they said, well, you live on Chicken Ranch Road, so we're going to call you Chicken Ranch Rancheria.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at most tribes in California, that's how they are. Their name is associated with either the street that they live on or the town that they live at. So, because our original name, Shipangalisha Sit, which means people of the mountain. So right in front of that resort, we cut a road in off the highway and we named it People of the Mountain Road. So we could bring our name back home.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's perched right there. That's our top restaurant. That's on the 9th floor. Or technically 12th floor, but yeah.
That's great. You also have Wahlburgers. That's
we got Wahlburgers in there. Yep, it's up on the second floor. The casino and Wahlburgers and our sports bars, everything's on the second floor. First floor is our hotel lobby.
I love this image.
Yeah,
so cool.
So our old website, we actually had live chickens on the tables because during COVID, we were able to, everything was cleared out. So we actually brought in this chick, and hey, she was amazing.
Do you have a sports book?
We do. We're actually the only one in California that has one. We have a class
No
2
way.
sports book. Yep. Class 2 sports book. It's called Playbook. Imagine that.
Are you concerned that you Playbook?
Playbook.
Are you, Chairman? Are you concerned you're going to run out of chicken-related puns?
No. And also artwork too. I mean, we got a bunch in there, but also we don't just use chickens. I mean, we got our UFOs, we got our Sasquatch. You know, we kind of do anything that's just weird. I mean, because really, I mean, every casino is the same. You look at it. And so our biggest thing, my wife, she's in a marketing background, and everything else. She's our director of brand, and see the little pictures in the background, all the artwork. Every
you know what I like. You know what I like, and you don't meet people too often where I can say this. You take your business serious, but you don't take yourself serious.
Yeah.
And you can feel that in your website and your resort. It's like you're a real businessman and you understand the concept of doing it right, but you're also like, hey man, this is fun. Let's have fun.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, I talk to our team all the time. I call it the 3 8s. I mean, 8 hours of work, 8 hours at home, and 8 hours of sleep. I wish it was 8, 8, 8, but we all know that doesn't happen. The work carries over a lot more than 8 hours. And so, you know, if you're going to be somewhere where you could be happy about, because if not, you're unhappy. That means you're going to go home unhappy. And when your best part of your life, you know, they say 8 hours, but it's not, you know, it's like 4 or 5 hours at home with your family. If your work is making you unhappy, you're going to be unhappy at home. I mean, with the best part of your life. And so we just try to be weird and just have fun, enjoy the worst part of our life, which is being at work. So we can enjoy the best part of our life.
Be weird and have fun. I love that. Hopefully that's your motto. Most important question I have for a casino, and Glenn knows the question that's coming.
I
Glenn, tell him
do.
the most important question.
Do you have a poker room?
No, we don't.
I will not be visiting you.
Oh man, that's fine. I mean, poker's such a hard thing. We have so many card rooms around us. It just doesn't pencil out.
It doesn't make any money.
We're going to do poker tournaments, probably do them every quarter and get that going. But really, we would just be paying people, our team members, just to stand around and do nothing.
You know, most hotels and resorts understand it doesn't pencil. But the tournaments pencil in the sense of you get new eyeballs on you. Because I will travel if I'm off. I'll travel 3 hours for a good poker tournament.
Absolutely. That's why we'll do poker tournaments. We do boxing. We do MMA fights.
Oh, cool.
It's because we know, I mean, we're not going to make money on those nights. But the thing is, like, okay, it's just like everything else. You get certain people will hear you from casino. Certain people will hear you just because of hospitality. Certain people hear you about food. So we try to get involved in every aspect of marketing to get the most amount of eyes on us.
Look at Vegas, man. They've changed everything. Formula One, they have the biggest boxing, biggest MMA. They have the Sphere now. It's in order to stay relevant, you got to attract a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Especially now, I think, you know, there's $1.7 trillion in credit card debt in America. I think that a lot of hotels and resorts and travel are starting to see that. And we saw that revenge travel. But what happened when you did revenge travel? You came home and credit card bills are 28% in interest rates. And people are like, oh, okay, I did it. I can't do that again. And you're starting to see it. So if you're not really running your business and really marketing the crap out of your business, it's going to get harder.
Yeah, and one of the most things that most people don't do, especially like with casino and resorts, because I mean, not gonna lie, casinos make money. I mean, I didn't build that because people win. Oh my God, I just lost it.
No, so you have to give them something. You have to give them something to feel good about. I was at a casino. I won't tell you which one. And a friend of mine who runs it looks at me and said, "See that gentleman in the corner? He's our favorite guest. We love him. He loves us." But that was the difference between profit and loss last month.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of them are, and that's where I was gonna say expenses. Expenses is what I think that makes us different. I really run a lean, operation as much as possible. I like to get it to where everyone's working at least 90% before I start adding people to payroll. And then, but at the same time too, we're also transparent with a lot of our stuff. So we pay people well. I tell them, hey, you're going to work, but you're going to be compensated for it at the same time. We try to be the leaders around in every aspect of it. But I think that's the biggest way to be able to have that. So like we were talking about the whole revenge traveling thing, is that you get that big old huge spin that everyone was cooped up for a while. But now, like you said, the 28% interest, now everyone's like, oh, maybe I might only take one this year instead of 2 or 3. So really it comes down to expenses. And so is making sure that we have our finger on the pulse, because when tough times do happen, we're able to take
value. People, yeah, we always use the word value. People now are obsessed with getting value. People will still spend, but they want their value. And, and what have you noticed before we wrap up here? I would imagine you have a casino card, right? You have your own card. What have you noticed?
I got to know what the name of the program is. It's got to have some sort of chicken reference.
So there is the top player or the top card is called our Cluckadoodle.
Yeah.
Or what? Or what is it called?
Cluckadoodle.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you, Anthony. I had to know.
No, but there's no way I wouldn't want that card just because I don't want to say, hey, can you redo my Cluckadoodle card? but what's the one thing you notice once you start that whole point thing? What's the one thing you notice about behavior? Is there in looking at the way people use their points or the way they use their card? What behaviors have you noticed that are maybe help you run your business?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we got a whole brand new clientele. We went from just a little mom and pop to that behind us. So, relearning everything. So, taking everything that we did already know and completely blocking it almost to a point, and to our new guests, our new clientele, because we still have the OG open. So we get a lot of people that will still go up there, but now relearning and seeing what type of like gifts and stuff that you want from the Players Club points and everything else. Our continuity, there you go. Our different promotions. We're used to doing things a certain way, but a lot of our guests now are not. They're used to going to other casinos, and so they're learning how to, along with ours, if they like it or not, because the way we do our promotions is a little bit different than everyone else. We like to get.
What's the one thing you're like, oh, I didn't know people want that, and now you have to change?
Really, it's a lot of food. And I thought one of the things I thought people were going to want stays. I thought people were going to want to stay in the hotel room and everything else. They stayed once, but our people live within an hour and a half. So they're like, yeah, I kind of don't care. I want food. And really people want to spend it on food, food galore. Which is awesome at the same time, because it's still, back in our business and everything else. But it's great. I could also challenge all of our chefs, like, hey, you guys got to come up with some new specials all the time to get these people to continue to come in here and spend their points in here, because to look at it, it is better than spending it on free play. If you look at revenue as an operator side.
I think I'd like some big old fried green tomato sliders, or
we do got those. Yeah.
Or taco bout Korean ribs.
That was actually really good.
I play in these small little $200. I play in these small little $200 poker tournaments around where I live, and whether it be in Atlantic City or Philadelphia, wherever I go. And I will tell you that if there's 2 tournaments and they're basically at the same time and they're only a couple $100, so they're within the same price range, I'm going to go to this one other casino that has better food. Because there's this one casino, I'm like, are you kidding me? Their food selection is terrible. And I pay for my food because I don't play that much where I have that much points or anything. But I was like, their food's terrible. So if I have a choice, I don't go to that casino because their food choices are terrible.
Yeah, that's like when I go to Vegas, I go to Encore. My wife's vegetarian, and with Steve Wynn with being vegan and everything else, the food choices there are just you can't beat their food.
Glenn, he made me emotional, Glenn.
I know, totally. I was going to mention that resort, but I didn't want to mention that resort because this is about you today.
Oh,
great, comfortable slot machine chairs, and that I was thinking about that when we were doing the chair conversation.
Wait till you said in mine.
I can't. You know what? I can't play. I play in their poker room. It's my favorite hotel on earth, right?
I want you guys to come
And
and stay because I
Yeah, man.
love that. I love that resort. Steve Wynn. I mean, besides stuff that just happened, that guy's
we're talking about the hotel, not his personal life.
yeah,
So don't worry.
the guy's amazing when he comes to it. I mean, he knows how to run a business. He knows how to build them. He knows what people want.
we had his designer. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got.
We had his original. We had his original designer on. What was
Roger
his name,
Thomas.
Glenn?
Roger Thomas.
And the man is seconds from nuts. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. And when I go through, and Glenn's heard this way too many times, when I go through that hotel casino, I'm in love with every aspect of it. And the way the walls are, the way the drapes are. I was having breakfast with my friend Brian, who's the CEO of Wynn North America. And I remember asking him, I was like, those drapes you have, the ones that are over the tables, and they're very small pleated drapes. Like, I've been coming here for 10 years, and those drapes always look new, always look fresh, always look clean. He looks, he goes, which ones you talking about? I go, well, the ones near the poker room. He goes, yeah, Thursday nights, those were clean. The man is running a $500 million in revenue, more than that. I'm $500 million. That's on Thursday.
That's one property.
Billions of dollars in revenue, and he knows that those drapes get cleaned on Thursday.
Yep. You have to. I mean, it's people will sit there and say it, but I mean,
right. We also learned, Chairman, he has 3 people on staff that only clean drapes.
Yep.
How crazy is that?
The place like that, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that.
And there's, I come up to Boston quite a bit, and there's the Encore in Boston.
Yeah.
And it's like in the middle of, like, all of a sudden you see this beautiful hotel. You walk in there, it's exactly the same as the one in Vegas.
Awesome.
Talking about Vegas, Glenn, we're going.
Next week, if you're going to be out in Las Vegas, why not go to the Nevada Hotel and Lodging Association's Technology Conference at Blackfire Innovation Studio on December 4th, where Anthony will be judging and I'll be hosting the Shark Pool competition focused on all the coolest new technologies coming into our amazing business.
Chairman, you know the difference between me and Glenn? I've been going for years to this thing, and I would be like, yeah, we're going to the thing in Vegas. I love that thing. And he knows off the top of his head exactly what it is. You definitely are. I'm the color, and you're the straight guy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got one quick question here, and then we've got to go. Hey, how often do you review your TripAdvisor comments?
Actually, quite a bit. Wife and I go through all of our rankings through everything all the time.
Great. Awesome. Make sure you guys check out playchickenranch.com. Playchickenranch.com.
Wait, before we go, what's the story about the Chicken Ranch in Vegas that you said you have a story?
Oh my goodness. So my grandfather got a bunch of jackets made up for the family. This is back in 1998. We barely had a casino, anything else. So it says Chicken Ranch on the back of it. Nice leather jackets. My grandparents, they're older, they loved it. They go up there, and this person was talking to my grandmother, like, oh, your Chicken Ranch? Yeah, my family owns it. Yeah, my daughter, everyone works there. It's a real family, the whole thing. And they thought they were talking about the Chicken Ranch in Vegas instead of that. And so it went through this whole entire conversation. My grandmother, bless her soul, like has never even seen a rated R movie in her life, and so was mortified.
It's so funny. My daughter works there. What an open-minded grandpa.
Yeah. She still has not lived that down.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. That reminds me, Chairman, one of my first writing job out of college was with a free Long Island giveaway magazine here called Good Times, but everybody thought it was High Times magazine. So everybody's like, they must send you some great stuff all the time, dude. It was really, really funny. All right, so guys, next time you're out in Jamestown, California, why not go check out the Chicken Ranch Casino Resort? Have some fun, have a Wahlburger, and enjoy yourself. Chairman, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on here.
Hey, appreciate it. Anthony, that was a whole lot of fun. This resort.
I love when I talk to someone that is so humble and so down to earth, that has a high level job with a lot of risk and reward, that gets it. Like, it just gets it. And you can't train that. you can't inspire that. You either get it or you don't get it. Like on one hand, you got to be a businessman. You got to worry about every penny. On the other hand, you got to give people what they want. You got to worry about the chairs, the toilet, everything. And I'm inspired by people like that.
Yeah, and speaking of getting it or don't get it, hey, if you don't get it, why aren't you getting it? Make sure you subscribe to our podcast wherever you like to get your shows. Plus, we are on air with video shows on all of the places that you want to be. No Vacancy News, LinkedIn, all of that kind of stuff. And on my channel at 2 p.m., I will be running that audio-only version with Harris Rosen, and then we'll be running the other ones as well later this week. Join us tomorrow as we celebrate such a great man. Until then, remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See you tomorrow, guys.